Hello everyone, after several hours of doing research and it has been horrible, I finally found a way to install Windows Whistler build 2202 in VirtualBox, and it may seem rather strange how to install this, but it can't actually boot straight from the CD. So let's dig in and install this weird OS. Okay, so basically the first thing that we've got to do is, let's just go ahead and create this VM. So I'll move this keyboard down here a bit so it's not so noisy. Sorry about that. And let's put it on Windows 2000. Let's give it 512 megs of RAM, virtual hard drive, and let's give it 8 gigabytes of hard drive space. Okay, so it appears to be loaded up. The first thing we want to do is go into storage and wrong one. Add a floppy controller, then it should be pressing on that little bit with the plus on it when you're floppy controller, and choose the disk. The first thing, well, what we want to do is insert a MS-DOS 6.22 disk and press OK, and let's boost it up. Doesn't really matter at the moment that it's still thinking it's Windows 2000 that's going to be installed on there, because Whistler was, it's complicated, I'll explain it all later. So let's just quickly set up this MS-DOS VM. Hopefully it won't take very long. United Kingdom. Okay. Alright, and second, well, we need to disk 2. I mean, virtually everyone knows how to install MS-DOS, and if you want a more in-depth sort of look at how to install it, I have got a video on the channel which demonstrates how to install it, so yep. Right, and let's press enter and restart. Right, so now that's completed, the next thing we want to do is add a Windows 98 first boot floppy diskette image, and if I remember the drives correctly, I believe that'll be under A. Let's just quickly... yeah, that's the Windows 98 one. So let's quickly boot from the Windows 98 one. Let's restart. Okay, and you want to press Start Computer with CD-ROM support and enter. And the next thing we want to do is actually now insert the ISO file. So that's the virtual optical disk image, and you need to browse to the drive that is in. Now I did find some problems with which drive it was in MS-DOS, but on this Windows 98 file over here you can see it says drive D up the top there, so that should obviously tell you which drive it is. So anyway, let's just quickly check that this is the right one by going dir/w, or you could just go dir. But as you can see there, it's got i386 and setup.exe. You don't want to go to setup.exe for some reason. It's a bit weird like that, because you can't actually boot from the CD without it blue screening. So rather strange. I don't know why they made it like this, but yeah. So simply i386 / win_nt.exe, all one bit, no spaces at all, and then press enter. And now this is the next part that I haven't explored yet, so this should be interesting. And this is just telling you, okay, where do you want to get these files from, and the virtual optical disc letter in this VM is D, so it will obviously be D, but it's already selected it on there, so that's alright. And like I say, you can't unfortunately do this the old-fashioned way, so it's a bit weird. You also notice that it says Windows 2000 up the top there. That is because there's been quite a bit of debate actually about whether this is a post-RTM Windows 2000 build or whether it is actually a Windows Whistler build, because they was made such a they were made around the same time basically. And I will be discussing that later on in this video once it's installing, because I believe most of this install is basically, well, it's the same as obviously the Windows 2000 setup, so yeah. But we'll be doing quite a bit of narration on the boring bits. So let's carry on, and it's interesting. Not stick to smart drive. Let's continue without smart drive because it doesn't matter. Right, so this is going to take a while, so I'll just quickly speed up the video and possibly do some narration as well. Okay, so it's now prompted me to remove any floppy drives, so I'll remove the floppy drive, and let's restart the computer. I'm not going to boot from CD because it's already copied over the files. And Windows 2000 installation upgrade. Oh no, will this mean they'll blue screen because I haven't? No, I should have took that CD out, shouldn't I? Because now it's going to probably blue screen and then it won't work. Oh no, it is working actually. This is weird. Didn't expect it to do that. Okay, let's press enter. Enter again. And F8. So it has got quite a bit of unpartitioned space. What shall we put it on? So the formatting part does actually work, but it just doesn't like booting straight from the CD for some reason. I will demonstrate that actually later on in the video if you like, about what happens when you just try to boot from the CD. Copying the files again. Okay, it's being weird. Oh, I done it automatically. As you can see, the boot screen is now identical to the Windows 2000 boot screen. Well, I think it remains like that for quite a while before they actually change it. And yeah, the setup's basically the same as well. Anyone would think this is just Windows 2000 if it wasn't for that time limited bump back there. Anyway, let's press next and leave it to install its devices. Okay, so now we've got some locale settings, and even though I told it earlier to, well, that I was in the UK, I seem to have forgotten it already. So, let's change that over. This is just basically precisely the same as the Windows 2000 setup so far, to my knowledge anyway. Okay, so let's go next. There it is. Oh no, it's going away. Right. Installing the networking components. Well, that's going to need to use them. Okay, so let's go with typical settings. No, it's not one. The weird thing is, it hasn't asked me for a product key, and now it's at the final stages. I wonder if that was a bug in this build, or whether it was just cracked later on. You would have thought though, if they cracked it, they would have, well, attempted at least, and they probably did, to obviously fix the bit where it can't actually be installed straight from CD. Or maybe they thought, well, they keep it in because that was one of the big major faults about this build. Okay, so it seems to have completed setup now. Let's just quickly eject the disk from the virtual drive and press finish. It should just reboot. 3000 professional. It's actually made a dual boot with MS-DOS now. So it seems to have completed. Hardly surprisingly didn't play the nice Windows 2000 music that goes with it. I'm just going to quickly install VM Guest Edition, so it won't be a moment. So here we are back at the Windows. Well, it's up for debate whether it's Whistler or 2000, but I'm going to be discussing that part now. So the first part that I want to talk about is down here in the bottom here, the watermark and branding. That SD part there stands for Source Depot, which is a new code management system Microsoft implements into this. And most of the changes are basically under the hood, and only very advanced users will even understand them. I mean, I don't understand quite a bit of it, but yeah, so that's rather interesting. Now to the next part which I want to talk about, which is this a post-Windows 2000 build or a early Windows Whistler build? Now, my opinion on that is that it is a Whistler build. That is because of the following reasons. If we install a printer, either a virtual one or a real one, and go to Properties, Sharing, and Additional Drivers, then you can see that it's got something on there called Windows 2001. Now I'm not sure how I can really put one onto obviously this VM, but it takes such a long time, and I've already spent all day on this blooming thing trying to make it work, so I'm probably not going to do that now. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting really. I mean, I have seen screenshots on the internet where people have actually managed to obviously see the bits where it says Windows 2001 and other things like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, this build was released 2 months after the release of Windows 2000, which clearly to me suggests that it was actually a Whistler build, because you wouldn't have a post-RTM build 2 months compiled over 2 months after the RTM's actual release. It just doesn't really happen, does it? And yeah, so to me this sort of signals that this is an early Whistler build. So yeah, and I mean, there is virtually no difference between this or anything else. I've got a Facebook message, that's unusual. So yeah, I mean, that just basically sums it up for this video really. I mean, I hope you all enjoyed obviously watching this video today, and well, my overall thoughts on this, I mean, it's a bugger to install. I was sitting there for 11 hours trying to figure out, well, which obviously which drive letter was the drive for the virtual optical drive, and trying to get different things to work, but I eventually obviously got it to work, as you can see. But I mean, as mentioned previously, it's MS-DOS, then it's the Windows 98 boot diskette, start computer with CD-ROM support, and then from there you go, obviously, F-disk, and so on and so forth, until obviously you can browse to the optical drive directory, as it tells you on there. Go to i386 /winint.exe, and then it's basically easy from there. So yeah, I mean, there's virtually no difference between Windows 2000 and this, so it's rather easy to obviously install, because I've installed 2000 loads of times, and yeah, so that's basically it. I mean, once you actually get it installed, it isn't really that buggy. I haven't experienced any problems with it so far, and you can open absolutely anything, and it loads everything really fast, and yeah, so there's no problems with the build once you get it installed, but it's a bugger to actually install it itself. So yeah. Anyway, so that basically rounds it up for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and well, I can't remember the number of the next build, so I'm going to see that Facebook message, because I never get messages from people because I'm not all that popular. But yeah, so till the next video, I'll see you all later. Bye bye.